Hare Krishna, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. So we are on the fourth chapter of this book, Elevation to Krishna Consciousness. In the third chapter ending, we saw how Srila Prabhupada was mentioning that, everyone can become Krishna conscious, whether one is Brahmanically inclined, administratively inclined, or productively inclined, or service orientated. Everyone can become Krishna consciousness simply by practicing the basic principles and chanting Hare Krishna. Prabhupada here writes, and then we will constantly be associating with Lord. But there's a need, a special need for the intellectual caste or the intellectual types of people to teach the signs of God. So now in the fourth chapter, Srila Prabhupada is going to mention about Krishna himself. This chapter is called Knowing Krishna as He Is. So Prabhupada starts to say, we do not need any high qualifications to offer prayers to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Whatever our social or intellectual position may be, we can offer prayers. So just like everyone can perform bhakti, similarly, actually everyone can offer prayers to the Supreme Lord. We do not have to be very learned or very scholarly, nor do we have to present our prayers in nicely selected words that are poetical, rhetorical, or metaphorical. These are all, uh, you know, uh, how you say, alankars or beautifications in poetry. So Prabhupada says none of this is required, although Prabhupada balances by saying, if it is there, it is very nice. So if you can do it, but if you can't, no issues about it. We simply have to express our feelings, but in order to be able to do this, we have to be aware of our position. Once we are aware of our position, our feelings can be expressed sincerely and automatically. So awareness of who we are as servants of God, and then we can actually express our feelings. So what is our position? This has been taught by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who teaches us how to pray in his prayer. So this is quoting from the Shikshastakam, the 8 verses which Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu taught. This is the 4th verse. Na dhanam na janam na sundarim kavitam va jagat isha kamaye mama janmani janmani ishvare bhavatad bhakti rahetuki tvai. So, na dhanam, no desire for wealth, na janam, no desire for followers, na sundarim, no desire for trying to attract the opposite gender, the beauty of the opposite gender. Kavitamva, I don't have a desire to be a scholar or very poetic person also. Jagat Isha Kamaye, which is generally the desire of people of this world. Mama, me, Janmani, Janmani Ishwari. Oh my Lord, I want life after life. Janmani, Janmani, Ishwari, my Lord, you to be the Lord. Bhavatat, you be the Lord of my life. I don't want to have the lordly or worldly desires, but I want you to be the Lord of my life, life after life. Bhaktir ahaituki twayi. And may I have ahaituki, that means causeless devotional service. Hetu means cause, ahaituki means no cause. That means I do not want my bhakti to be tainted by some cause or some need or some desire or some motive. Let it be unmotivated. My devotion should be unmotivated. So let us, Lord Chaitanya is teaching how we should pray to the Lord. In this prayer, the word Jagadisha means Lord of the universe. Jagat means universe and Isha means the Lord. Whether we are Hindu, Muslim, Christian, or whatever, we must acknowledge that there is a supreme controller of this universe. This cannot be denied by anyone who has faith in God. Our conviction should be that our Supreme Father is Jagadisha, or Lord of the entire universe. Only Lord Jagadisha is in control. Everyone else is controlled. So this is nice. This comes from a verse in Chaitanya Charitamrita. So here he says, Chaitanya Charitamrita, Ekale Ishvara Krishno Aras Sabha Bhrityo Yare Yaiche Nacha Yase Toiche Kore Nitya. How God wants us to dance, in that way only we will dance. Why? He is the supreme controller. Ekale Ishvara Krishna, one God. Aras Sabha Bhrityo. Everyone else is his servant. So we saw in the beginning here, just before this, I missed one point. Srila Prabhupada is saying that how we have to be aware of our position and then feelings. So both things are important, our head and our heart. So I was just remembering this verse from Bhagavad Gita. This is the first of the Chatur Shloki, the 4 verses in Bhagavad Gita which gives the essence of Bhagavad Gita. Sambandha, Abhidheya and Prayojan. The relationship that we have with God, the process in which to rekindle the relationship, and the goal, the Prayojana, in which we want to achieve. So here in this verse, Krishna says that, he is the source of everything. And one who knows this, Buddha Bhava Samanvitaha. Buddha means intelligence, Bhava means heart, emotions, feelings, relationships. So both are to be used. Sometimes people say bhakti is a thing of the heart. There's no need for head. If you have too much head, then it's gyan. It's not like that. Bhakti also, we need some intelligence, some head, isn't it? Some thinking. So that is knowledge, to be aware of our position. Now, continuing this, only Lord Jagadisha is in control, everyone else is controlled. The atheists, however, do not like this term that God is in control because they like to think that they are in control. But actually, this is not the case. So many people who are atheistic, who are against God, they do not like when you say that God is the supreme controller. Why? Because they feel that if he's in control, then I lose my control. But I want to be in control. All beings in this material world are subject to the 3 modes of material nature, goodness, passion, and ignorance. But the Supreme Lord is above these 3 modes. Tribir gunamayer bhaver ebhe sarvam vidam jagat mohitam nabijananti mame bhyaparam avyayam. Deluded by the 3 modes, goodness, passion, ignorance, the whole world does not know me, who am above them and inexhaustible. So here Lord himself declares that I'm beyond this world. The Brahma Samhita also gives us information regarding Jagadisha, the Supreme Lord. In that work, Lord Brahma says to the Supreme Controller is Lord Krishna himself. So we have seen this verse. Ishvara Parama Krishna. The Param Ishvara, the Supreme Controller, is Krishna. The word Ishvara means controller and the word Parama means supreme. All of us are controllers to some limited extent. Isn't it? We can control something. We control some other people under us, or we control ourselves, or we control something. If we have nothing to control, Prabhupada says, sometimes we keep a dog or a cat, a pet, and we say, my dear dog, please come here. In this way, we can think, I am the controller. Right? When we feed, only they will eat. So we feel very, Ishvara Bhav, it's called it, controlling tendency or mentality. Prabhupada says, but sometimes the tables turn, however, and we find that the dog controls the master, isn't it? So like you see in many cities nowadays, the dog is running and it is dragging the master, it is dragging the owner, and the owner is just following wherever the dog wants to go. In some worst case scenarios, the dog, poops, right, passes stool, and the master immediately removes a plastic bag and picks up the stool and packs it. Because if they don't, the government, or many cities, the government actually, the municipal council will actually summon or sue the owner, right? So who is serving who now? Who looks like the man, the owner is serving the dog by picking up its poop, right? So, or wait while the dog is pooping. So sometimes Prabhupada says the table turns. This happens because actually no one is the controller. Foolishly, the dog is thinking he's a controller. Foolishly, the man is thinking he's the controller. And everyone is controlled, man or dog. Unfortunately, we are forgetful of this situation, and this forgetfulness is called Maya. We refuse to accept any control of this universe because, very important point, why don't people accept the controlling power of God? Because if we accept a controller, we have to account for our sinful activities. People are scared. People don't want to be called sinful. People don't want to be checked from their unlawful activities. So if you accept a supreme, if you accept a superior, an authority, immediately you are checked from doing anything wrong. Why? You have to follow the rules of that person. So people, because they want to enjoy their sense gratification, they want to enjoy their wrong and unlawful activities, they deny that supreme law. Just as when we accept the government, we have to account for our unlawful activities. You have accepted the government, you're working under the government, you're serving the government, living in the government. So you have to follow the rules. You can't break the speed limit. You can't run out over the signals and so on and so forth. Our position is that we want to continue in our sinful activities, and therefore we deny the existence of the controller. This is the basic principle of godlessness. Any atheist. The current propaganda is that God is dead. So this was a time in US in the early ages where people, hippie culture, would come together and say that there is no God, there's nothing. God is spread because people want to continue being rascals without restriction. This is the basic principle underlining the denial of God's existence. Basic principle, Prabhupada saying, the core. But however much we may deny his existence, he will not die. If just because we close our eyes and deny, like an ostrich which sticks his head in the ground when he sees a danger, that doesn't mean the danger has gone away. 5% or 3% of the head they put in the ground and the rest of the huge body is outside does not mean that the danger is gone. In this regard, there is a Bengali proverb that says, very nice, Prabhupada likes to quote this proverb, Shakuni shape goru morono. The word Shakuni means vulture. I hope you know vulture, buzzards, which prey on dead carcasses. Vultures enjoy dead animal carcasses, especially the carcass of a cow, dead body of a cow. Sometimes a vulture may go for days without a carcass, without eating something. Therefore, this proverb says that the vulture curses the cow, wishing him to die. Shakuni shape, curses. Goru, the cow, morano. The vulture is cursing the cow, may you die, may you die. Why? When he dies, then only becomes a carcass and then only the vulture can eat. But this does not mean that the cow will just die just to oblige the vulture. Similarly, these atheistic vultures want to see God dead. So they can take pleasure in thinking, now God is dead, I can do anything I like. So simply people accusing that God is dead, God is this, it does not matter. It's just a joke of being sarcastic of a vulture cursing a cow to die. We must know then for certain that there is a controller. That is the beginning of knowledge. Right? So here Prabhupada now wants to speak and explain, if we really want to connect to that Supreme, we need to know who he is. So that Supreme is a Jagadish, master of this world. Why should we deny this truth? In every field of activity, we find some finite controller. So how can we deny the existence of an infinite controller in this creation? Everywhere you look around you, there's a controller. Traffic light signal, there's a controller. In your devices, there are controllers, right? House father is the controller. School teacher is the controller. They're all controllers, but they're finite. So similarly, who's the controller of this infinite universe? He must be an infinite being. It is not without reason, therefore, that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu particularly uses this word Jagadisha, Lord of the universe. He does not manufacture the term, for it is found in many different Vedic mantras. For instance, the Prabhupada quote this, our Narsimharti, Tabakara Kamalavare Nakham Adbhuta Shringam Dalita Hiranyakashipu Tanu Bringam Keshavadrita Narahari Rupa Jaya Jagadish Hare Jaya Jagadish Hare. Oh my Lord, your hands are very beautiful like the lotus flower, but with your long nails you have ripped apart the wasp, Hiranyakashipu. Unto you, the Lord of the universe, Jagadish Hare, do I offer my humble obeisances. Hiranyakashipu was an atheist who denied the existence of God. See, Prabhupada is linking with the original point. But God came as Lord Narasimhadev, a half man, half lion incarnation, and killed him. Therefore, praise is given to the Lord as supreme controller of the universe and all living entities. Jai Jagadish Hare. There is also another prayer. Jagannath Swami Noyono Patogami Bhavatumi. O Lord of the universe, please be visible unto me. Now, please remain in the line of my sight. In all these prayers and in many others, the supreme control of the universe is acknowledged. Everyone is trying to become supreme controllers, but it is not possible by individual, communal, or national effort. There's a nice point. Everyone's trying to be the top kahuna, the big kahuna, but it's not possible. Because everyone is trying to be supreme, there is a great competition in this world. But this is the most amazing thing, this line. The world is created in such a way, however, that no one can become supreme. Regardless of what position we place ourselves in, we will find that someone is inferior to us and that someone is superior. So this is the amazing thing in this world. However, whoever we are, there'll always be someone better than us. There'll always be someone below us, no matter whoever we are. No individual can say, I am the supreme. No one is above me. Nor can anyone say, I'm the most inferior. No one is below me. Once we think that we are the most inferior, we'll immediately find someone that is inferior to us. And once we think we are supreme, immediately we'll find someone superior. This is our position. This is the awkward nature of this world. God's position, however, is not like this. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna asserts his superiority himself in this way. So Krishna speaking about himself as supreme. Matah parantaram nanyat kinchit asti dhananjaya Mayi sarvam midam protam sutre manigana iva. So Krishna says that Matah para taram nanya. There is no one para tara better than me. Krishna is saying, Kinchit asti dhananjaya. Not possible to find anyone. Mayi sarvam idam protam. Everything is resting on me. Example, sutre manigana eva. Just like pearls are strung on a thread. You do not see the thread, but you understand when you see a necklace that there must be a thread behind it. There must be a string. There must be a something that is holding up these pearls. Similarly, when you see this creation, you may not see God directly, but you're able to understand that behind creation, there must be that hand of God. God is Asam Urdhva. It's a Sanskrit word, which means that no one is equal or superior to him. Asama Urdhva. No one equal, no one better. If we find someone who has no superior, we can accept him as God. God can be defined as one who has no superior and who has no equal. This is the Vedic version. In the Upanishads, it is said, Natat samaschabhidakas, Natat samaschabhyadikas drishyate. Natat samascha, no one is equal to him. Abhya adhikascha, no one is better than him. Right? No one is found equal or greater than him. Another characteristics of God is that he has nothing to do. So very nice, in this chapter, Prabhupada is saying that God means he must be Jagadish, he must be the supreme controller, right? God means there be no one better than him, no one above him. Like this different criteria, different qualities. Prabhupada is saying, definition of God. Now, another one. God means that he has nothing to do. In the material world, when a man is considered very important, he has always a great number of things to do. He gives an example. The President of the United States, for instance, is considered to be the supreme man in the country. But as soon as there's some disturbance in Central Europe or any other place in the world, he immediately has to call a meeting of his cabinet to consider how to deal with the situation. So even he is required to do many things. If he does not do anything, he is no longer the supreme man. People remove him from office. In Vedic literature, however, we find that God has nothing to do. Natasya karyam karanam cha vidyate. Krishna may act in so many wonderful ways in this world, but it's not because he is required to do so. This is the indication in Bhagavad Gita. So Krishna also acts. It's not that Krishna doesn't act, but Krishna is not required to act. He does so out of his own will. न मे पार्थस्ति कर्तव्यं त्रिषु लोकेषु किंचन नानवाप्तम् अवाप्तव्यं वर्त एव च कर्मणि. O son of Pratha, there is no work prescribed for me within all the three planetary systems. Neither am I want of anything, nor have I ever need to obtain anything. Yet I am engaged in work. Still, God, Krishna is acting. So Prabhupada reminds another wonderful story from his own upbringing. In this respect, it is interesting to note that one European gentleman who went to Calcutta and visited several temples noted that in the temple of goddess Kali, the deity had a very ferocious figure with a chopper in the hand and was cutting off the head of demons and wearing them as garlands. So actually, this is a story of one of Srila Prabhupada's god brothers only, a German person who traveled all across India looking for God and seeing many temples. And finally, he came to Calcutta, where he met with His Divine Grace, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, the Guru of Srila Prabhupada, and he surrendered unto him. And he said that I have come to understand that Krishna is Supreme God. He said, how? Where have you read this? Where have you heard this? No, no, no. Just by seeing all the temples in India, I have come to understand that Krishna is God. Why? We will see. He became an initiated disciple of Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur. In other temples, he saw the deity engage in similar activities. But when he came to the Radha Krishna temple, he said, I find in this temple there is God. When asked how, he concluded, he said, in every temple I saw that the deity was doing something. But here I see that God is simply playing flute and enjoying himself. He obviously has nothing to do. This is a very intelligent conclusion, Prabhupada is saying. Indeed, it's the Vedic conclusion. So we see in all deity forms, you'll see they are holding some weapons, doing some killing, or giving benedictions, or meditating. Everyone is doing some activity. But Krishna, he's holding the flute and he's enjoying. He's not engaged in some management, some benediction giving, or some killing, or something. He's just enjoying. So this person, very smart, he came to this conclusion that Krishna is God. Nowadays, it has become fashionable for people to claim they are becoming God by meditation. So Prabhupada wants to clarify this point now. This means that by meditation, it is possible to transform oneself into God. Or in other words, God meditates. And by his meditation, he becomes God. This is all nonsense. God is God. And he was always God. And he will always be God. Even as an infant on the lap of his mother, Krishna is God. So people, there are people like that who think that, this is my Leela. Now let me do some sadhana bhakti. And after that, I'll come back again to my godliness. So if you lost your godliness now, that means whatever that power is which made you lose it is more powerful than you. Can there be anything more powerful than God? So it doesn't make sense. No meditation was required, no austerity, no penance. The Prabhupada gives an example to prove this, that Krishna is God. When Putana, the demon witch, came to poison baby Krishna, she came as a beautiful young girl and asked Mother Yashoda, Oh Yashoda Mai, you have a very nice baby. Would you kindly give him to me so I can nurse him? Yashoda was a very simple village woman. She said, Oh yes, 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 you can take my child. Putana had smeared poison on her breasts, and she intended to kill Krishna by letting him suck them. This is the demoniac spirit. Demons are always wanting to kill Krishna so that they can say God is dead. There is no God. God is impersonal. Krishna was so kind to Putana that he allowed her to nurse him. But when he sucked her breast, he not only sucked out the poison, but her life as well. Putana fell to the ground dead and was immediately transformed into an original demoniac form. So this is God. In the lap of his mother, he is God. He does not have to become God by meditation, penance, and austerities, or by following rules and regulations. So it's very clear that we cannot become God. We are servants of God. And it's not that God, by meditation becomes God. One can become godly, but one cannot become God. He is substantially and eternally God, and he has nothing to do. If one claims that he can become God by worshipping such and such a deity or by meditating, we should immediately take it that he is not good. But he is not God, but a dog. In understanding God, we must be careful to accept the Vedic conclusion only. Natasya karyam karanam cha vidyate. God has nothing to do. Why would God have something to become God? If we manufacture gold, that is artificial gold. It is not real gold. If you go to a lab and make a gold, it is not real gold. Why? Because gold is natural and similarly God is natural. In these childhood pastimes, in the lap of his mother, he is God. While he is playing with his boyfriends, he is God. While he is dancing, he is God. While he is fighting at Kurukshetra, he is God. While he is married to all his queens, he is God. And while he is speaking, he is always God. There is no difficulty in understanding God. Oh my God. All that is required of us is that we listen to Krishna. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna tells Arjuna, Aham sarvasya prabhavo mata sarvam pravartate iti matva bhajante mam buddha bhava samanvita. We saw this just now. This means that Sri Krishna is the fountainhead of Lord Shiva and the origin of Vishnu and Brahma. And of course, all other demigods and all other living creatures. He says further, Mama ivamsho jivaloke jivabhuta sanatanaha manasastani indriyani prakriti-stani karshati. The living entities in the conditional world are my fragmental parts and they are eternal. But due to conditioned life, they are struggling very hard with the six senses, which include the mind. So by nature, the soul is pure, but because they have come in contact with this material mind, now they have become corrupted. In the Brahma Samhita, Lord Brahma explains that if we are looking for God, here is God. Premanjana churita bhakti vilochanena santap sadaiva hridaye suvilokayanti yam shama sundaram achintya gunaswarupam govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. There is a similar description everywhere in Vedic literatures, but rascals and demons are so obstinate that even though, obstinate means stubborn, even though Krishna is confirmed to be the supreme God in the 12 by the 12 standard acharyas, these are known as the 12 Dvadasha Mahajan, Brahma, Narada, Shiva, Bhishma, Kumara, Kapila, Manu, etc. So let us see the verse. This is the verse 6 canto 3rd chapter 20-21 verse. This is spoken by Yamaraj himself. Swayamburnarada Shambhu Kumara Kapilo Manu Prahlado Janako Bhishmo Balir Vaiyasaki Vayam. So here Yamaraj is speaking that, these are the 12 Mahajans, they call the great people who know the truth. Then Prabhupada says 12 Acharyas and by other great people like Vyasa, Devala and many other devotees still refuse to accept him. So what is the other devotees? We'll see this from Bhagavad Gita. Arjuna speaks this verse after the Chatur Sloki, 10.11, 10.13. Sorry, 10.12, 10.13. Arjuna Vacha, Param Brahma Param Dama, Pavitram Paramam Bhavan, Purusham Shashvatam Divyam Adi Devam Majam Vibhu. Ahustvam Risha Sarve Deva Rishi Naradastata, Asito Devalo Vyasa, Swayam Chaiva Bravishime. So everyone, his personalities, Narada Muni, Asita Devala, Vyasa, everyone is actually saying that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also confirms that Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead and that Srimad Bhagavatam says, Krishnas tu Bhagavan Swayam. Srimad Bhagavatam gives a list of incarnations of God and at last concludes that the name Krishna, which appears on the list, indicates the Supreme Personality of Godhead, whereas all other names represents manifestations or incarnations. Ete Shamsa Kala Pumsa. All other names of God are either parts of God or portions of God. The parts are called amsas and the portions are called kala. As living entities, we are an amsha, but we are very fragmental amsha. All others are either amsha or kala, but Krishna is Bhagavan Swayam, the personality of Godhead. So after teaching the first verse how to pray, Prabhupada shares another verse. Our prayer should be directed to the Supreme Personality of Godhead and none else. Therefore, we pray with Brahma. Chintamani prakara satma sukalpa vriksha lakshavriteshu shurabhira vipalayantam Lakshmi sahasra shatasam brahmasevyamanam Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. So here he is worshipped the Lord Govinda, primeval Lord, first progenitor who's tending cows, fulfilling all desires, in a boat built with spiritual gems, surrounded by millions of wish-fulfilling trees, always served with great reverence and affection by hundreds and thousands of Lakshmis or gopis. Here Krishna is called the original person, Adi Purusham. We are all persons. Our father is a person and therefore we are persons. If we trace our fathers back, we will find that he was also a person and that his father was also a person. And so all the way back to Lord Brahma, who was the first created person in this universe. Then they will also find that Lord Brahma's father, Vishnu, is also a person. Everyone is a person and Krishna is the supreme person. The impersonalist, understanding of God is called NIRAKAR. Ni means negative and Akar means form. So Nirakar means negative form. So they denote or denounce the form of the Lord, the Mayavadis. The impersonalists are mistaken with the impersonalists are mistaken when they think that God has no form at all. The word Nirakar does not indicate that he has no form, but he has no material form as we do. Form is there, but it's not material. It is spiritual form. And this has to be true because in this world, we are enjoying so many varieties, so many forms. We're enjoying car is a form, house is a form, bank balance is a form. We're enjoying so many forms. Now to say that go to the spiritual world where there is formless, where there is no variety, becomes very scary, isn't it? What is the value of our form, this body, this existence? This form will be changed after a few years as soon as you give up the body. Death can come at any time. Once one leaves this body, then the form is gone. Now the soul has taken a new form. Our forms are changed just as we change our suit and dresses. But God does not have a form like this. Therefore, he is called Nirakar. From his form is there, and also it has been explained in the Brahma Samhita. Lord Brahma describes his form in this way, Lord's form. Venum Kwanvantamaravindalayakaksham Bharhavatam Samasitam Buddha Sundarangam Kandarpakoti Kamaniya Vishesha Shobham Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Angani Yasya Sakalindriya Vrittimanti Pashyanti Panti Kalayanti Chiram Jaganti Ananda Chinmaya Sadujvala Vigrahasya Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. So here the Lord's beauty is mentioned, how he's so beautiful, his body attracts millions of cupids, right? He's bedecked with a peacock feather, he is playing on a flute, his eyes are like lotus petals, his form is so beautiful, so on and so forth. This form has nothing whatsoever to do with the material forms. Impersonalists say, oh, you say Lord Krishna has a form. If so, how can you say that he is supreme? So many people think spiritual life means you have to come out, give up. Right? If you have a body, you have to give up the body. Not like that. The impersonal Brahman is the supreme and the impersonal Brahman is formless. But we have information from Bhagavad Gita that Krishna is the source of the impersonal Brahman. What's the proof? This verse 14.27. Brahmano hi pratishtaham amritasya vyayasyascha shashvatasya cha dharmascha sukasya I am the basis of the impersonal Brahman. Krishna certainly has form, but his form, as stated before, is Sachit Ananda Vigraha, eternal, full of knowledge and bliss. The attributes of his transcendental body are summarized by Lord Brahma in this way. Ishvara Parama Krishna Sachit Ananda Vigraha Anadiradir Govinda Sarvakarana Karanam. The word Govinda means he who gives pleasure to the senses. Okay, go can mean three things. Go can mean land. Go can mean cow. Go can mean senses. Govinda, one who pleases this earth. Govinda, one who pleases the senses. Govinda, one who pleases the cows. So we perceive pleasure through our senses, and therefore Krishna, who is a reservoir of pleasure, is called Govinda. If we serve Krishna with purified senses, we'll begin to relish the pleasure of the supreme reservoir. How can we describe God or understand his glories? It is not possible. God is unlimited, regardless of our finite limitations. However, we can express our own feelings and say, my God, my Lord. This will be accepted. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu teaches us to pray in this way. So it's very nice, that we have to develop a relationship with the Lord. Many times when we go temple or we go to pray someone, we don't say, oh God, Almighty Lord, my God, please help me. Oh, please this, please that. So we should have that mood. So this is the third verse of Brahma Samhita Prabhupada is quoting to show the prayer. Ainanda tanuja kinkaram patitamam vishame bhavam buddho kripaya tava pada pankaja stita dhuli sadrisham vichintaya. O son of Maharaj Nanda, I'm your eternal servitor. Somehow or other I have fallen into the ocean of birth and death. Please, therefore, pick me up from this ocean of death and place me as one of the atoms at the lotus feet. This should be the standard of prayer. We should not only want to be replaced as one of the atoms at Lord Krishna's lotus feet. Everyone is praying to God with some interest. But even if we pray to God, give me some money, give me some relief, nice house, nice wife, nice food, that is also good. Yet, this is not the standard of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's prayer. Our only prayer should be that the Lord enables us to serve Him birth after birth. Our prayer should be, Prabhupada gives a prayer, how we should pray. Dear Lord, you are so great and I want to engage in your service. I have been serving all these rascals and I'm not satisfied. Now I have come to you. Please engage me in your service. This is the last word in prayer. Some people complain that when they pray to God, they do not feel His presence. We should know that this is due to our incapabilities, not God's. There are two conceptions of presence, the physical conception and the vibrational conception. The physical conception is temporary, whereas the vibration conception is eternal. When we enjoy or relish the vibration of Krishna's teachings in Bhagavad Gita, when we chant Hare Krishna, we should know that by those vibrations, he is immediately present. He is absolute, and because of this, his vibration is just as important as his physical presence. When we feel separation from Krishna or the spiritual master, we should try to remember their words of instructions, and we will no longer feel that separation. Such association with Krishna and the spiritual master should be association by vibration, not physical presence. So here Prabhupada is talking about the Vani Seva versus Vapu Seva. We are a marg of Vani, association of the instructions. This is real association. We put so much stress on seeing, but when Krishna was present on this earth, so many people saw him and did not realize he is God. So what is the advantage of seeing? By seeing Krishna, we will not understand him, but by listening carefully to his teachings, we can come to the platform of understanding. We can touch Krishna immediately by sound vibration. Therefore, we should give more strength to the sound vibration of Krishna and the spiritual master. Then we will feel happy and won't feel separation. We can touch Krishna immediately by sound vibration. Therefore, we should give more stress to the sound vibration and of Krishna and the spiritual master. Then we will feel happy and won't feel separation. So therefore, by Vani Seva, in that way we can is the real service, not Vapu Seva. Because we may not always have the association of the spiritual master. From Srimad Bhagavatam, we understand that when Krishna departed from this world, Arjuna was overwhelmed with sorrow. But when he began to remember the instructions of Bhagavad Gita, he became pacified. So this is also another verse, right? This comes from the first canto, 15th chapter. Where Arjuna here, after Krishna has departed, he's remembering, and he says this nice line, he's pained with Krishna departing. He says, now I am attracted to those instructions imparted to me by the personality of God, Govinda, because they are impregnated with instructions for relieving the burning heart in all circumstances of time and space. So the purport here goes, Arjuna refers to the instructions of the Bhagavad Gita, which is imparted to him by the Lord. So Arjuna here is remembering that, all the Vani that the Lord has spoken to him, this is the way that he can keep in touch with Krishna. Arjuna was Krishna's constant friend. So when Krishna went to his abode, Arjuna was overwhelmed. But just by remembering his teachings, he got relief from the pains of separation. Thus, whenever we feel separation, it is best to remember the teachings. The teachings of Bhagavad Gita were imparted to Arjuna for his happiness and for the happiness of all men. This is indicated by Krishna at the beginning of the 10th chapter. So in Bhagavad Gita also Krishna says that this Gita, what we are reading, Bhagavad Gita, is meant for the happiness of everyone. Bhuya eva mahabaho shrinu me paramam vacha yatteham priyamanaya vakshyami hitakamyaya. Again, O mighty armed Arjuna, listen to my supreme word. which I shall impart to you for your benefit, and which will give you great joy. So this is one of the glories of the Bhagavad Gita. By hearing the words of Lord Krishna and following them carefully, we will attain not only peace in this world, but the supreme peace, Param Shantim. All that is required is that we seek refuge in the lotus feet of Krishna and render service unto him by chanting his glories and pushing this Krishna consciousness movement in every town and village of this world. It is Krishna's promise that by such surrender and peace, an eternal life will come automatically. Tammeva sharanam gaccha sarvabhavena bharata tatprasadat param shantim sthanam prapsyasi shashvatam. O sign of Bharata, Arjuna, surrender unto him in all respects so that by his mercy you have transcendental peace and eternal abode. Since the last chapter was talking about peace, Prabhupada again goes to so far as explaining that to know God, you have to achieve God. So this chapter talks about how to understand God, who is actually God, what defines him, and what mood we should pray. Right? So beautifully quoting from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's prayers, Shikshastakam, how we should actually pray. And towards the end, we saw that ultimately we need to serve in Vani, not Vapu. Okay, that we actually should remember the instructions of the Lord, and that is that way we can serve him. So like this, we'll end this chapter. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai.